Today is May 3, 2015. I have some really good news to share with you. This article is from Friday, May 1st, 2015, and it is titled, Hollywood Skyscrapers Are Halted. This story is a very big deal as the anti-Agenda 21 crowd, the anti-high-density crowd, is having major victories over in Hollywood, and we are going to celebrate those victories with this video and with this story. So the article continues on to the next page. A judge on Thursday halted a developer's plan to build two massive skyscrapers in the heart of Hollywood, ruling that the city of Los Angeles failed to fully assess how the $1 billion project would affect surrounding neighborhoods. So they were going to spend $1 billion on skyscrapers. Where do they plan to get this money from if the state has the massive deficit that it does? Somebody has to pay these builders this $1 billion, and I would like to know where that money is supposed to come from. The decision was a blow for the Millennium Hollywood development, which is backed by most of the city's elected officials, but opposed by community groups who fear increased traffic and the project's proximity to the Hollywood earthquake fault. So, as always, the city council is in favor of something that the rest of the community is against, yet in their Delphi meetings, they're going to tell you this is all based on the wishes and the demands of the community.
This is dictated by your wishes and your commands. This is not dictated by the state. This is not dictated by any sort of legislative action coming from the top.
The proposed 39 and 35-story buildings, the largest development in Hollywood history, were seen as a major piece of the district's ongoing revitalization. Whenever you see revitalization anywhere, just know that that is the construction of the Agenda 21 megacities. In a 46-page decision, Los Angeles County Superior Court Judge James C. Chalfant said Los Angeles inappropriately disregarded the concerns of Caltrans that traffic on the 101 freeway might significantly worsen with the development and be unsafe. The order means that the developer will have to draft a new environmental impact report if the company wants to move forward, according to the city attorney's office. Writing a new report is a lengthy, complex process that can take more than a year. The development has faced controversy for years. It was approved by the city council unanimously on a 13-0 vote, and Agenda 21 Mayor Eric Garcetti supported it. Even after state geology officials said the project site might lie in an active earthquake fault zone, last fall, the state geologist concluded the fault does run through the Millennium site. So you see, if it's for Agenda 21, they don't care how unsafe it is. They don't care how bad it is for the environment. If it fulfills their agenda, they want to move forward with it. Judge Chalfant also criticized Millennium Project's description as overly vague. The judge wrote that the developer's summary merely mentioned some combination of residential uses as well as hotel rooms, offices, restaurants, retail stores, and a health and fitness club. That isn't good enough, Chalfant wrote. A developer must present an accurate and stable picture of the project so the public and decision makers can decide whether its environmental consequences are outweighed by its public benefits, Chalfant wrote. The ruling marks the fourth major court victory by various neighborhood groups opposed to dense development in Hollywood. They've all been represented by the same lawyer, Robert P. Silverstein. For those of you who know me personally and are working on the same thing with me, you need to either get into contact with that lawyer or bare minimum, write that name down so we could use him in the future. Preparing a new environmental impact report could easily cost a developer an additional $1 million and take at least 2 years. This is a victory for NIMBYs and abusers of the state's environmental laws. NIMBY is a derogatory term directed at people like me and is an acronym for Not in My Backyard. Yes, you are an awful person if you don't want tens of thousands of new people moving into your neighborhood with foot traffic everywhere, with buses everywhere, clogging up your freeways, and let's just top it all off by building the development on top of an earthquake fault line. You're a bad person if you are against that. Now look at the language they use here for the developers and the builders of these projects. Development forces. That right there, not only is it propaganda, but it just goes to show what I've been saying in the past, how all these things are being deployed against us, and in many cases, they're the ones that use the word deploy to describe what is happening. These buildings are being deployed on us by developmental forces. Notice that they're not saying builders, they're not saying developers, they're not saying capitalists, they're not saying entrepreneurs, they're not saying business owners. They are saying development forces said Thursday's ruling shows the state's environmental laws need to be rewritten so that development projects cannot be struck down so easily. So look at that right there. That is a loaded sentence. What they are telling you is that the fascist, crony capitalist builders want to lobby the California state legislature to write laws so it's easier for them to shove high density down our throats. I say no thank you to that. Councilman Tom LaBonge, who opposed how high the Millennium skyscrapers would have been, said development needs to happen, particularly for the influx of jobs they would bring. So, as always, they are saying this needs to happen. The reality is they want this to happen, and they always use the argument that if you build it, they will come, and that is not true because all over Southern California, we see brand new high-density developments that have gone up that have for lease signs in front of them, meaning they're not totally filled up, and then right across the street, they're building more of them. So this does not fall into the scope of if you build it, they will come, and that's how much the California economy has been destroyed, that there's no other way to create jobs other than to shove everyone into high-density buildings. Most important part of the whole article, George Abrahams, who lives in the Hollywood Hills north of the proposed skyscrapers and was a plaintiff in the case, said Hollywood is ill-equipped to turn into a new downtown. Allowing Millennium to proceed would create a nightmare for commuters in an area that is hemmed in by the Santa Monica Mountains and was originally designed to have 3 freeways instead of 1, he said. So for those of you who work on these kind of projects with me, you know who you are. We need to get into touch with George Abrahams and add him into our network. As you see with this article, people are fighting back and people are winning because these developers, they're not used to being opposed, so they just do things shoddy. They don't follow the rules. They do whatever they want, and it's only when they are opposed that we have the victories. So hopefully this is an inspiration to you that in a place like Hollywood, in California, there are people fighting. So if you live in a place that is less communist and this is going on, this should be an indicator that you can fight and that you can win. So that's all for now. Grandall61 signing out.